I'm just a janitor. I was working, okay? I was at work.
Sure you were. I was working. Yeah, you were working.
NOVAK, which is kind of a funny film because it's another conventional situation where we seen these detective kind of like trying to get a confession out of somebody and using bad comedy to make us laugh because it's so bad it makes us laugh. Kind of like an interesting take on this sort of conventional kind of genre, but then using the bad comic to kind of get a confession out of it. Yeah, it's kind of interesting. It's really well shot. It's shot like a drama, but it's just funny, and the NOVAK is kind of perfectly casted.
It went from comedy to psychological thriller in a second. So I went from laughing to I'm disgusted because it was really sad. I just couldn't get past that.
Oh,
But
the blood. You're talking
well
about the
done.
blood?
That and just messing with this man
Yeah.
to that degree, I can't handle it.
But for some, it made us laugh even more.
I actually really enjoyed the way that they edited it like it was a psychological thriller, like it was a very serious moment, to contrast with the like really deadpan, awkward humor. Because that, as a personal thing, I love like contrasting editing choices with content, and like honestly, it was just ridiculous, and I loved it.
Just to add on what she said is like the background music was really kind of like interests me, like it's really contrasting the plot. I feel it's like I thought it was like a detective movie or something, but yeah, afterwards like I figured.
Steven Spencer meets Sergeant Frank NOVAK. I'll leave you to it then.
I think NOVAK served as a character that was kind of being used. I think the first guy who was interviewing the janitor, like, did you do it, did you do it? He was kind of too scared to do it himself, do the interrogating, so he brought someone called NOVAK to kind of get the word out of him, like, oh, it was me, in like a really creative way.
I thought it was a really great way to show the fallacy of trying to force a confession out of someone, because if you torture someone long enough, either physically or in this case psychologically, anyone will say anything based on what you want to hear. So I thought it was a really great portrayal in a more comedic sense.
Yeah, it's a great little 5-minute movie because it's sort of, everybody ever been to a comedy show where somebody's just bombing, and it's just so hard to watch. It's just like so painful to watch, or a bad comedic short film, for none of these ones, but basically a bad comedic short films where it's just like so painful, and it's like, so it's a great take on that kind of conventional setting, like shooting it like a thriller, but using that. Yeah, it's very ingenious for a little 5-minute short.
So I am unbelievably sick of crime drama, and I feel like every story now is like, there's a murder and we're gonna solve it. So anything that pokes fun at that, yeah, I found it uproariously funny. And I agree, it did go into psychological thriller, and I definitely felt sorry for the janitor, but he was alive. I think he's okay. The one thing I kept sort of expecting to happen was somebody whispering in the hall who works with NOVAK, like, have you ever looked at that guy? His eyes, they're just dead. Because it did seem he knew what he was doing the whole time with such intensity, and I loved it. But I will say that there was a plot hole in terms of, if the original interrogator knew that that guy was just the janitor, why is he interrogating him? Like, it didn't make sense at the end, but I was too busy having fun to care. But I did notice, I'm like, well, that doesn't make sense. But I loved it. Yeah, deadpan is good.
I just thought the writing was good. The jokes were pretty funny.